Hey, Ruby. How you doing today, hon? Oh my gosh. I can't even. That was like every time. Yes, we have definitely missed you swinging in the chat. Ruby, are you still in podcast mode or can you see the chart today? I bring the Oh, Ruby, I'm sorry, hon. Yeah, this is the chart of the lunar eclipse, guys. I still don't think you're spelling a leave right, Owen. Dude, it's gonna hit me hard too. I'm already feeling that shit. I mean, you guys know me, I love pulling up these charts the day of. All I did was pull up my own transits before, I didn't look at the actual chart itself. And I am not gonna lie here, there is a lot of energy going on, just even besides the eclipse. Like, the stuff going into it is kind of insane. I mean, you guys see it up here. There's two inconjuncts, and they're both going between each of the parts of the eclipse. Like, the moon has an inconjunct and the sun has an inconjunct. And 8 degrees is the actual degree of my Uranus yod. So I'm getting an exact freaking moon and a sun. Technically, I have like a new moon energy too because the moon's conjunct my natal sun, hitting my yod. point Uranus in my chart. So it's like, hey, let's have some new moon energy striking your freaking yod point right now. And I keep feeling like this energy, reset. Just reset. I'm like, fine, I'll reset. I don't know what the hell I'm resetting, but I'm resetting, guys. And that's just like one part of my chart. I didn't even like look at anything else after that. I was just like, great, okay, that's fine. But looking at this, I'm realizing that I got some other inconjuncts sitting all over my chart. I'm just like, okay. Because technically Mars is in conjunct both my natal Pluto and my natal Lilith right now. Just looking at this, I can see it. Everything just wants to have an inconjunct party on my chart right now for this eclipse. And Neptune's in a trine with all the inconjuncts happening to my Scorpio. Hey, Anna. Yeah, I'm going to go over this chart itself, and then whoever wants me to, I can pull up their charts. Some of you already have your charts in my system, so I can just go ahead and pull it up. But for those of you I don't have, I can just put the information in real quick and read your charts too. That's what today is all about, guys. So if you don't know, you will know. I am. I'm having an inconjunct party. Technically, just from the couple that I'm seeing here, I literally have 3 inconjuncts that I already know of sitting in my chart. Wait, yeah, I have 3 inconjuncts, 3 trines, freaking that every freaking planet in Capricorn is conjunct my descendant and my Saturn. So it's like, okay, that's like a huge conjunction party that I have going on too. Oh, and let's not forget Venus. Venus is conjunct my natal shit too. So that's great, and it's sitting in my 4th house. So I'm having a 4th, 5th house party with Scorpio. I'm telling you, I bring all the aspects to the yard, guys. Yeah, I have yours, Anna. Well, I wouldn't be surprised with this energy to like have squares because naturally these transits have tons of squares just because of Mars and the Capricorn planets because they've been riding together in that square degree. So don't be too surprised about like having a lot of squares right now because just, you know, transit wise there's tons of squares. So of course if there's already some sitting everywhere and then like you put that up against your chart, you're going to have those squares on top of your natal squares, so it's going to add up. That's why everything is a challenge right now, but there's also like blessings in the challenges. I'm feeling a lot calmer today. I think I got that energy burst out yesterday. You're on a Saturn kick. I mean, I think pretty much everybody's on a Saturn kick. We're getting so close to things just jumping into Aquarius right now, it's ridiculous. Debilitated. Oh, and you need to watch the lives from yesterday. Like, for real. I know you usually don't rewatch stuff, but you need to watch that. I think everyone needs to watch that, to be honest. I need to rewatch it myself. Because that, I don't even remember half the shit that I was saying on there. But I know a lot of it was just straight, like, freaking, all of it was December. It's like, you want to know what's happening in December? Go watch that. And plus, I don't want any of my people being asshats. I think that's like a major takeaway I had from that, is just saying asshat so many times that that's probably the one thing I remember. I was channeling your energy. Hun, I'm sorry. I don't think that's the kind of energy you should have on a daily basis. Because, like, after I channeled all that, I felt like throwing up all night. It was not easy energy to have flowing through me for that long. My body was not okay with it once it started calming down last night. It's like I might be able to do it for a bit, but my body pays the price after. Oh my gosh, Owen. You had to do the notes yesterday. But yeah, that energy, I feel like a good half of the collective got extremely roasted yesterday, and then the other half I was just like, keep doing what you're doing. And I know I said some like random important things. I remember moldy cookies. That's that's one thing I remember, is the moldy cookies. It's like when stuff came up again when I was live on Facebook last night. It it's like it reminded me of some things and those things stuck, but other than that, if it didn't come through on Facebook, I pretty much forgot about it. Yeah, I know. One of the things I said was moldy cookies. I'm telling you, there were so many things in there that were like so random. But yeah, let's go ahead and jump into this chart. Now, since the first thing I mentioned was in conjunct parties, this eclipse is actually having in conjunct parties itself, all by itself. Love the metaphors. I honestly don't know where my stuff comes from half the time. I'm just kind of like, okay, I guess that worked. But first we have an in conjunct. Okay, first let me start the energies of the lunar. I'm wanting to jump all over the place, but we're just going to start very first off with this lunar eclipse. Now, the reason this is a lunar eclipse is because it's a full moon eclipse with the nodes. Now, this energy going on here, and the reason it's with the nodes is it's like kind of in that degree, but having these energies, having an opposition between, because the full moon is always in opposition, between Gemini and Sagittarius, so it's going to be between the energies of speaking and communicating pretty much what we know. So it's going to be a whole lot of that energy wanting to come out, but also it's going to be opposing this energy where there's a lot of light wanting to be shed on broader perspectives and things that people aren't talking about, and really trying to seek out our own truths. So it's like there's going to be like this feeling like subconsciously that we really need to talk about this stuff, but there's also this pull that we need to learn more about it before we talk. So it's like very like um how can I put this? It's almost like kind of what I went through yesterday with the feeling of almost having like a word vomit thing where you cannot control it and it just flies out. I really hope no one else goes through the channeling thing that I do, but there's probably going to be a few people that go through that depending on what your chart looks like. Because I know right now the moon is really close to being conjunct to my natal sun, which is probably why it's already happening. But besides the point here, getting into this energy, once we understand that that's kind of like the baseline of this eclipse, is what's going on, is this tug of war between wanting to do that. We have the first thing to look at here, which is still bringing up the depths here. This is like the hidden, our subconscious and everything, but it's in our relationships. Now, having, I'll explain in conjunctions with this one. So this in conjunct here is like trying to bring a blessing down to us to kind of help us with the opposition energy, but at the same time, since they're in these signs that don't quite get each other, it's not quite in opposition, but it's still kind of like with this energy, it's going to be air mixing with water, which if you think about it, it's kind of like a tsunami effect. It could easily like really get up to that scale, or it can be very cleansing rain, just like kind of blowing on you. It depends on how you let it affect you. Are you going to let it sweep you completely away, or are you going to learn to kind of go with it and be cleansed by it? Because having this in conjunction here, especially with Venus being in Scorpio right now, it's almost like we are wanting to communicate these very deep subconscious thoughts with people that we are close to, with these relationships that we feel are very deep, that we feel are very important to us, and certain secrets are going to start being pulled out because just subconsciously stuff is going to start coming out. And this is the reason in conjuncts are important, is because they're at a very tight degree. They're like 2 degrees or less. So it's like a very powerful pull. A little more powerful than oppositions, which this opposition's at an exact degree, which is why it's a full moon. So it's kind of packing the same punch here. But with these, what you want to look at is, especially since the actual natal map of this has an ascendant of Scorpio, there is very Plutonic energy just overriding this entire eclipse. And obviously things are very highly linked to both of the planets in Scorpio during this eclipse. So if you're really feeling these energies heavy, even if you don't have very heavy Plutonic placements in your chart, you're going to be feeling this very heavy because it's an overarching energy. Like this is going to be the energy of that day, is very Pluto heavy. And then especially in your relationships, with that moon coming in there, it's going to be like subconsciously you just want to rattle off and start talking about things and trying to clear away things. And then there's also going to be stuff that's kind of coming up that's been hidden, that might make you kind of step back a little bit and start collecting a lot of information. But you have to be careful, because if you look at this energy here, we have Neptune trining the Venus as well. So it's bringing in this energy of being compassionate while we are going through this, because it can be very easy, especially with this lovely Aries energy over here going on, to get a little volatile when we're getting upset if something's coming out and it's not exactly what we thought it was. We need to learn to release expectations, very much so right now, because if we're holding on to expectations, that's what's going to create the flames. Because if you look at how this is trining Venus, and it's trying to be like, okay, let's be a little more compassionate in our relationships. I know that certain and it looks like Neptune's going to be going direct by this moon too. I need to look at that actually. Where's my book? Because if it's going direct, that's going to be a whole nother energy. Okay. Yeah, Neptune goes direct the day before the lunar eclipse. That is going to be a lot of energy. So literally everything that we've been feeling with this Neptune retrograde, like I said, I don't look at these charts until we pull it up here. Everything we've been feeling with this Neptune retrograde is all of a sudden going to start shifting. Yes, we're still going to kind of be in a shadow period, getting through, like, you know, the murky whatever's from the retrograde, but this shift is going to have a very heavy impact on this eclipse because we're getting a big planet all of a sudden going direct the day before the eclipse. And this really has a lot of meaning here because you have to think about this. If this Neptune going direct the day of the eclipse is squaring off against our nodes here, because if you look at it, this Gemini is also the same for Sagittarius. They're going to be at the same degree with the nodes. Within 1 degree, which is a very... Okay, Owen, you're going to type a paragraph when I'm in the middle of me trying to say something. I just figured it out. Give me a second. But, this is a very close degree square. Like this T square to the nodes is very close in degree on the day of the eclipse. I think it's actually very close to being maybe 1 degree or less. Like it is like a very close degree here. And with this hitting our nodes, what's going to happen is this push and pull we're actually feeling with the eclipse itself is going to get a whole nother layer of this direct energy from Neptune smacking it. And then on top of that, it's like all these things we've been learning that are not the truth, that we've been having things being pulled over our eyes, all of a sudden it's just going to explode. This is reminding me of some of the stuff I channeled yesterday. It's going to be like this feeling of what the hell kind of thing, because a lot of stuff's going to start coming out and you need to be thinking for yourself right now. I didn't read anything you said yet, Owen. I'm on a thingy. But this energy coming through here with it going direct and literally punching our nodes. And you have to realize, if you look at this chart, Neptune is still technically in the 4th house. It's still sitting in the house of the soul here while it's smacking the houses of self-worth. Actually, where would this be? It's going to be, yeah, the self-worth and the 8th house. It's like T-squaring those houses. So the soul houses of what we consider our values and what we consider the hidden from us is all of a sudden just going to be getting hit with this square energy, and it's going to be very polarizing for people because some people really do not want the wool taken off of their eyes right now. And for the people that are trying to take it off with this energy, or they're being pushed into doing it and they're like really trying to work with it and other people aren't listening, it's going to become kind of volatile. Because if you're looking at this right here, this energy between Neptune and the moon is squaring, which means that this is actually squaring the nodes as well over here. I already told you guys that. So you have 2 squares from Neptune hitting Gemini. This means this information that we're collecting on an interpersonal level, and possibly even what we're digesting from the media, is making it to where we're either going to decide to follow media or follow our truth that we're learning from our subconscious. There's going to be 2 different types of people coming out of this, and you're very easily going to see them. There's going to be people changing their points of view. There's going to be people growing. There's going to be people wanting to apply new knowledge. If you're looking at these people, this is where this compassion comes in the relationships. If you're seeing change right now, that means that those people that are trying to change, see if it's change, even if it makes you uncomfortable, their own change, if it's changing for them like their growth, or if they're changing into being way more pushy, if they're changing into being a lot more stubborn with their views, it means that they're on that other side of the coin, and you need to watch out for that energy because it's very toxic. because with this square happening with the moon and our feelings, it's like our intuition is going to be telling us, hey, some people really aren't being nice right now, and I need my boundaries up. It's pretty much what our intuition is going to be jumping in and telling us, is if our emotions are getting attacked by people, especially in the relationships that we're trying to be compassionate and understanding in, because this is what Neptune's trying to teach us in this. We need to realize with this strong pull, with this inconjunct here, that anything that really balks against our boundaries is showing us that they really honestly don't care. And we need to see that truth right now. We can't be like having the wool pulled over our eyes. And I also heard too that this is a really great time for breaking addictions. If you have certain addictions you need to break with this energy, if you really put your mind to it with what's going on here, especially when it's coming to your self-value, it's coming to how you feel in your soul, especially if the addictions come from long line of family addictions, this would be a really good time to break those, because instead of you feeling like the answers aren't there for you, they're going to start being like pushed to the surface. Because Gemini's energy is like this surface energy. It tries to pull things up. And since it's sitting in the 8th house, and that's what everything is sitting in currently, it's trying to pull up all of these things, especially when it comes to our relationships and our communication. It's really trying to pull that Scorpio energy up and allow this new way of expressing it, instead of feeling like it needs to be buried deep down inside and people don't need to see it. It's going to be more commonplace for there to actually be more deeper conversations. Now, if you're trying to have deep conversations with people and they keep trying to go surface, it's trying to show you that those relationships are kind of getting on the wavelength of not being able to serve you, especially if you're trying to explore these sides of yourself and they really don't want to hear it. It's kind of like letting you know, okay, I need to keep mental note of this. I need to, like, not necessarily kick this person completely out of my life, but I need to keep a watch on how this person affects my energy. Because if they still bring you up and they're just not ready to really talk that deep, that's one thing. But if they are draining your energy, then this is going to be very noticeable, because this is going to, I'm not going to lie, this energy is going to be very draining with this moon. Some people are going to get extremely hyper just because of the fact, depending on where they have this Mars in their chart, because in this chart Mars is in the 6th house and Aries is ruling the 6th house. This is very fast-paced energy for having routine. So if we're having all this energy sitting in the routine house over here, it's almost like we can easily go into burnout if we're not careful, especially since it's trining the sun over here. It's like trying to say, hey, you know, like, we don't need to burn out. We can kind of step back a little bit. We can go into self-care. And that's where this trine is coming in, because it's the 6th to the 2nd house. It's trying to show us we can take care of ourselves. We don't need to be putting everything into everybody else right now, because we still have all these freaking squares sitting over here, like I was saying, these beautiful squares sitting over here with this Capricorn energy. Now, with this happening, all this Capricorn energy is sitting in the house of communication, which is going to put this restrictive feeling on communication, and that's why it's so hard to keep pulling. That's why there's all this opposition coming through with this moon in Gemini. It's like we really want to communicate these things, but what's interesting is it's trying to say, I don't want to communicate the surface, and that's what the fight is here. That's what the big fight is, because what they want to communicate is the deep. This is what's actually having this beautiful sextile over here to these. They're like, we want to communicate deep shit, and we only want to deal with people because this is the 1st house. Like, this is going to be easily seen on people. This is going to be them. Like, you're going to feel the energy smacking your face from people, if you're aware. Like, if you're not and you're just kind of like in a bubble and you don't know what the hell's going on and you're just like, you know, what the fuck ever, you're not really going to understand it. But if you're kind of in tune with what's going on right now, then you're going to be feeling these energies hitting you. You're going to be able to tell that there's certain people that are wanting to talk on these deep levels, and these are the people coming in trying to show you with this compassionate energy, because this is trining both of these, because it's in right in between them. So the Neptune is also adding this compassion to these deep conversations. So having both of these, because this is a trine, so we have all these sextiles to the communication and we have this trine to the communication. If it's deep and meaningful conversation and it's bringing all this compassion to it. Now, like I said, if anything is surface knowledge and anything's being communicated in a surface way, it's going to rub people the wrong way. It's just how it's going to go here. Because having this energy right here, Saturn is on this descendant in this chart. Not Saturn, Uranus is on the descendant in this chart. It's still in retrograde. But it's still barely in the 6th house, like by less than a few seconds over here. So it's like barely in the 6th house. It's like it's getting ready to move up into like that relationship energy, but it's still sitting in our routines and our health. So this is going, once again, back into the 2nd house. Everything's trying to go back to self-worth and deep communication right now for this moon. And this also means you're having deep communication with yourself, because if you're not, then you're honestly just letting this go to waste, because you're not seeing what you need, which is a big thing with this moon too. And that's what's coming from this Uranus right here, having another opposition to the sun. The sun is like our heart. It is like that inner child. It's the creativity. And like we're realizing our self-worth comes from the things that we neglected in ourselves and the things that we had to hide behind the protective ego. And having this in conjunct, it's like hitting it like, no, you don't need to hide it anymore. You need to bring that shit out and show everybody. And you need to do it every day. It's what's good for your health. It's what you need to get better. Whether it's your mental health, whether it's your physical health, spiritual health, emotional health, being able to tap into this and start bringing it out is going to be very powerful right now. And certain people aren't going to be okay with that. Like I said, if you're seeing people changing, see what kind of change it is. If it looks like this change where it's finally they're becoming themselves and they're embracing it, then that is like a very beautiful energy. But if they're really fighting it and they're becoming very nasty and like this other true side of them's coming out instead, don't lie to yourself. You're getting this direct energy being shoved into this eclipse for a reason. It's probably going to hurt. Like emotionally, it is going to hurt to be sitting here and seeing some of these people getting nastier when you thought they were better people. But you can't lie to yourself. Like, that's the worst possible thing you can do for yourself right now, because you have all of these planets in Capricorn making like this very tough energy to Uranus right now, because this pull that's happening with us needing to go deep and needing to change, it's hard. It's not easy. And we need to be able to accept it, especially since this is conjunct with descendant. This is like us being hit with our shadow work out of nowhere too. Like there's certain things, and that's what heals the inner child, is like being able to look in and be like, you know, I've been really neglecting these parts of myself, and it's going to have, like I said, direct effect on your health since it's still in the 6th house. And there's a reason for these things. There's a reason that this stuff is sitting in these places. It's trying to let us know. I mean, even Neptune's barely in the 4th house, but it's still in the 4th house. It's in there for a reason. And plus, having Chiron in the 5th, healing the inner child, because Leo, the sun, usually rules the 5th house. And it's like healing the inner child, healing our creativity, like bringing peace to that, instead of like being asshats. Like, I mean, Ruby over here, show your ass. It's like, instead of being that way because we don't want to heal and being bratty children, it's like starting to heal that, so that way the child is able to evolve in us and actually get the attention it needs. Because, like I was saying, this Uranus has this really tight opposition to the Venus in Scorpio. And if those relationships that you're seeing, like I said, these are relationships, your shadow work, what's coming out on you personally for everyone to see. This presence that's changing in you and other people is going to be tough. It's going to be work. And if people aren't appreciating the work, then what's going to happen is there's going to be this big tug of war, and it's going to be that same feeling that's going on with the eclipse. So it's almost like our personality that's being thrown in the forefront, and our shadow work is having a really close opposition, and so is our values, like what we truly value, and what our subconscious is trying to bring out, like what are our emotions. There's like this huge pull with these things, and then there's inconjunction between both of them. Like, this is very powerful energy, and it's hitting these houses where you can't get away from these things. It's like direct effect on your health, your self-worth. What is now going to be shown to the world is this part of you that you kept hidden, and you're not afraid to communicate it anymore. You want it in your relationships. You're tired of hiding this part of yourself. Yes. Anna, the messages that are starting to come out, this is a build-up right now. Like, we're in the shadow phase of this starting up. So anything that we're getting right now, like I got a burst of it early yesterday, anything that's coming out right now is going to keep building. This is like the beginning of it. This is the crescendo leading like up to like this big event right here. And once this hits, this energy is going to be sitting with us, because how all of these are with this pole here is wait a second. This right here, this one very specifically is forming a sextile to Pluto and Jupiter. This Neptune energy right here, this is compassion for ourselves. I know a lot of this is dealing with relationships, but we need really deep compassion for ourselves as we're going through these transformations, because it's really going to build, especially with this energy with Jupiter. I mean, it's not exactly in the sextile, but barely a few seconds out of it, so I'm still going to count it, because Jupiter has like this expansive energy anyways. But with this energy coming in, it's like all these transformations we've been working on. If we've been working really hard and we're feeling very drained, we need to give back to ourselves right now. And that's what this Neptune direct is trying to like show us. Yeah, like a lot of stuff was kind of pulled back. But if you're doing anything that's detrimental to yourself, be kind to yourself and stop doing it. Because it's almost like it's trying to say, like, you know, all this work you're doing isn't going to be worth it if like your physical body gives out. It's kind of like what I learned yesterday. It's like all that stuff came through, great, but now I need to take care of myself because of how it affected my body. Like, I can't like just go, okay, I'm going to do the same thing. And in a way, it made me change up how I'm actually doing certain routines. It made me go to sleep earlier because I wasn't feeling well. And then that made me wake up better because I went to sleep earlier. So pretty much jump started me doing stuff better for my body by going through that. But really pay attention to the things you need to do, because these energies right now of Taurus and Capricorn are really trying to get you to focus more physical and taking care of your health with this, while the Scorpio energy is like on your person as well. It's the house of the body, like what like is put forward and everything. And people are going to be seeing your health deteriorating if you're not taking care of yourself. It's going to be very prominent. It's going to be coming out in the way you talk. It's going to be coming out with how you're dealing with people in relationships, as well as your relationship with yourself. Like, are you ignoring yourself, or are you really trying? Because having this moon energy, the way it's sitting here, and there's another thing with Gemini I want to talk about too, especially having Scorpio, Mercury going at the same time. Gemini isn't just this communication between people here. It's like this other side kind of communication as well. Because Mercury doesn't just sit with one thing. I mean, you have to remember Hermes was able to go down into Hades' world. He was able to traverse the scorpionic energy and go back and forth between them freely. This means that with this Gemini energy, it's very easy to get downloads right now, especially if you have Gemini placements, if you have Sagittarius placements, if you have Scorpio placements. You're going to be getting some download central happening right now, because things are going to come to you in different ways. With me, it's literally, if I open my mouth, stuff is coming out. Like, it's just happening. And it's because I have 11th house Gemini energy. It's like this, well, actually, I have 12th house Gemini energy. Gemini rules my 12th house, but my sun is actually in the 11th. So having both of those energies, my spiritual house is literally ruled by Gemini. So the way this spirit is going to talk is through my freaking mouth and my hands. Like, so like if I touch things, like it's like I'm getting those kind of messages, and it's really freaking weird. But you need to understand how these different things are hitting you in your chart. Like what place is being, like what house is being ruled by what area, and that's what I'm going to do with you guys. I'll pull your charts up and look at those, because it'll probably explain why you're getting certain things hit the way they're getting hit. But definitely, if you've been ignoring any part of yourself, even without realizing it, it's going to be put in front of your face, and you're going to have the choice made. Like, are you going to start taking care of yourself as well? So there's like a lot going into this eclipse. It's probably why I kept hearing reset over and over again, is because this energy right here is like all about resetting a whole lot of thinking, a whole lot of what you're doing with yourself. It's just this energy of like a big reset button on things that were not working. It's like, we're gonna just start this shit again, fresh slate. We're gonna do it right now, and it needs to stop whatever isn't working. And the people that aren't doing that are pretty much not hitting a reset button. They're hitting this button like fuck off for everybody else. They're hitting a fuck off button, and it's like they're only in their own very selfish world right now. So yeah, Anna, that's how this stuff is going to be hitting. That's why I'm saying with this Neptune, because it's temptations and addictions, and it hitting us at this soul level. And if you're dealing with anything with family, if there's stuff coming to you where you're having to get into these deep communications, it's going to be very easy for you to want to escape it. So that's one thing you have to be careful about, and that's why it's really having this push-pull with our moon. Our intuition is telling us, don't escape this, and it's really hard, and it hurts sometimes, because this is going to be a painful transformation for a lot of us that are willing to do this reset. If we're not, I already talked about the ass hats. I'm like over ass hats right now. But since this is the main kind of energy I'm getting from this chart right now, also another thing, if you learn something and it changes your point of view, do not be afraid to express it, because even if someone's like, oh, you're a liar or whatever, it doesn't matter what they're thinking right now. You need to express their truth and let people take it how they're going to take it, because if you learn new things, that's growing, and you need to express it. People that, if they learn new things and they don't express it and they bury it right now, are going to become very detrimental to themselves as well as the people around them. So don't allow your pride to get in the way of you actually expressing truth right now. And that's where that's where this square is hitting Neptune right now. Don't let pride get in the way of the truth. Don't let your pride pull up an illusion because you want to stay in it. You need to be able to come to the plate and be accountable for anything you've done, no matter how big or small. You need to be able to be honest with yourself and those around you that you actually care about. So, now that I've done that, we are going to go ahead and who wants me to pull up their chart first? I know Anna's over here having like this crazy download stuff happening, so I'm pretty sure I have Anna's chart in here. Let me see. You guys are going to be able to see my stuff that I'm going through in here. Yeah, I have Anna. So let's pull you up, hon. Okay. So, oh, Anna, hello. Okay. Poor child. Okay, let's get started here. I'm trying to pick where I want to start with this. 19. So, Mars is in your second, and everything I was trying to tell you about Mars and how its energy is affecting all those planets, and how you were saying you feel like you have all these squares. Yes, you're having tons of squares added in by this transit right now because Mars is sitting in your second and it's squaring all three of the Capricorn planets. So you're going to be feeling this energy hitting very heavily in your 11th house because all of them are conjunct in your 11th house. So your self-value is learning like what your dreams are and trying to push yourself towards those because it's very hard because you actually have Neptune retrograde natally conjunct all those as well. Like all of them are having this freaking huge ass party in your 11th house. So you're having a conjunction square party too. Now, having all this energy sitting over there is basically like how we've been dealing with this Neptune energy, but instead of it being in Pisces, it was very restricted in Capricorn natally for you. So that's probably why it's so hard for you to tap in spiritually. But when you do, it's like this whole other world opens up and it's having to teach you like immediate tons of lessons, and it's very hard on you and it's very draining and it has a direct effect on your self-worth, and then you try to shut it down. Now, with it also, I mean, you naturally are going to have, it's conjunct your Saturn right now. That Mars is conjunct your Saturn. And it's pushing this energy full on. Whew, into your natal moon and your natal Mercury in Libra. Because you fight so hard for balance, and the way you learn balance is through your relationships, and a lot of things are also hidden from you. I mean, your Venus, not your Mercury, is also hidden from you at the same time. So it's like you get surprise lessons on top of that, and that's just been piling on with this Mars as it started finally like going through your second house. It's like your worth is being ripped asunder right now when dealing with trying to find like this balance in your relationships, which makes no sense to you whatsoever because it's like dealing like other people, like going through other people's shit to deal with the relationships in the first place. It's like you're having to get through a block before you even learn to get to the person. And then with the same thing happening to your moon, but it's in your 7th house, it's like your intuition is so hinged on your relationships and dependent on the different relationships you have, that having this energy, and with your moon, your natal moon is in Libra at 13 degrees. This is not only conjunct the, not conjunct, it's trining the Gemini moon that's in the eclipse right now, which is sitting in your 3rd house of communication. And then you also have in your 4th house the node conjunct your IC. So you're having a 3rd, 4th house party where this communication, like you're getting soul communication. And since it's in like these houses of communication, and since it's in the 3rd house that's usually ruled by Gemini, but it's ruled by Taurus, that's why you're having this urge to bring it down and try to make it as physical as possible. That's why you're trying to write, because like what I'm doing, I'm over here like talking like a mad person, and I'm not remembering anything. It's like I'm just meant to talk into the internet because it's in my 11th house. That really makes sense. And then I'm talking into a live thing to record it. With you, you need to write it. It needs to be like physically like you touching it and writing it to bring it out of your soul right now. And this energy is being carried over very heavily into your fourth house with the node being there and with it squaring Neptune, which means Neptune is actually in your first house now, very closely conjunct your ascendant. So people are really projecting onto you hardcore right now. And it's having this squaring effect with the nodes, which some people don't like the truth that's coming out because they can't project to you as easily. It's direct now. Neptune isn't in this like retrograde thing anymore. It's going forward, and your self is coming out because it's your soul, and it's also your 10th house energy. And this is really trying to push you towards, sorry, I'm like stretching my leg, but your 9th house is holding the sun, but your 10th house is holding the node. So the south node, so it's like your soul is literally sitting up in your career, your south node, but then you also have the north node sitting in your present soul. It's like you have past soul, present soul, like they're both being hit right now and just saying, hey, let's pull this party together and let the real shit come out right now. And like Ruby said, sometimes you gotta be rude. And that's where this Aries is coming in for you and your self-worth. It's making you be more brass. It's making you be more protective of yourself. Because having this Aries Chiron sitting in your first house right now, with everything going on with this eclipse, people are seeing your healing on you. And what's really important here is your 6th house is ruled by Leo. The way you get your health back is by diving in and healing that inner child and allowing yourself to be creative. A lot of the things you're writing right now possibly are going to be turned into music that you're going to need to put out there, and that's why all this is being shoved at you. And you also have to look at, let me find it, I'm going to find it. So yeah, your 2nd house is also holding the transiting Uranus right now. And that's actually having an inconjunct to the sun that's sitting in your 9th house. So your self-worth is literally being found through your spiritual learning, your knowledge, you're expanding yourself. Like you're finding your worth and ripping up these old ideas that were placed there by masculine authoritative figures. You are replacing them with this new knowledge. Now, you need to tap into this because this sun is conjunct your Pluto, which is why you're having so many things happen at once. It's why you're feeling all this stuff is being pulled down, is because spiritually your houses are lit right now. It's just what's happening. Like you have a lot of lit communication, and soul houses and things that typically aren't soul houses right now have your soul sitting in them. So it's almost like it's being pulled from the depths and you have no choice. And you're healing, your natal Chiron is in Scorpio. So that Scorpio Chiron is mixing in with the Scorpio Mercury, it's mixing in with the Scorpio Venus, and you have a natal Scorpio Mars. Your shit's being activated right now. Like you're being told you need to bring this hidden stuff out that you have because it's all in your 8th house. It's literally pushing you. Communicate the hidden. Use your drive to communicate the hidden. Don't let your relationships stay hidden anymore because you have your Venus and Libra in your 8th house. And that Venus in Scorpio is like, no, I am tired of dealing with this superficial, having to balance out other people's shit. It's time for people to be deep and understand me. And that's what this is like this is literally what's happening right now. Like your 8th house is having a revolution where it's like what's hidden doesn't need to be hidden anymore. I need to be sticking it out there for people to be seeing it because I'm tired of hiding myself. And all of those planets that I was talking about, The Mercury in Scorpio is in your 9th house. It's wanting you to communicate this new knowledge. It's deeper. It has meaning. It is time for you to communicate it. It's not time for you to hide it anymore. Even though that Venus Scorpio is sitting in there fighting with your natal Venus and Libra, it's like it's trying to tell you like what's more important right now. The actual deep relationships, or these relationships you're trying to hold together by threads because you were told, you were given like this pressure by authority that you are meant to hold these things together. When in reality, once you realize that you are your authority, you're your authority over your self-worth, over your relationships, that's what this is pulling out of you right now, that you're the authority. And ooh, you got a whole nother thing happening too, hun. You got your nodes, your north and south nodes are at an exact T-square to the north and south Gemini nodes right now. Like exact, like 19 degrees. You're having an exact T-square between both of these things. Your nodes are like on fire right now. Like, so, damn. In your south nodes in your 12th house, you're being really freaking activated right now with this moon. Like, it's no joke for you. You're being very activated right now. And that node energy isn't going to go away for a bit. You're going to be feeling this node energy very heavily with this. I mean, I know it's not going to be probably out of the range for you until like at least halfway into next year. You're going to be feeling this conjunction with your nodes. And let me see. I'm trying to see if there's any of the planets I missed in here while I was going around. And we know where there's, okay, so I need to see where those inconjunctions are going to be hitting in your chart. So we have some inconjunctions happening between the Sun and Uranus, which is your 10th and your 2nd house. So once again, there's another very powerful pole you have going on with your self-worth and what you're putting out in the world. Then we're going to have the inconjunct between the Moon and the Scorpio Mercury, and this is happening in your 3rd and 9th houses. Now, this is very interesting for you because you got a lot of mixed energies happening in this house with this inconjunct. This moon inconjunct for you is making it to where you're communicating this knowledge, but it's literally coming from your intuition. And I think that's why you're getting the downloads you're getting. Because with this moon sitting in your 3rd house, having that inconjunct to the transiting Scorpio Mercury in your 9th, you're literally getting this higher information directly from your intuition. And that's why, since your 3rd house is ruled by Taurus, you're having to write everything down. Like, you need to have a place to write it down, because this isn't something you're learning from books. Your higher knowledge right now is literally coming directly from your guides. And having the other one with the self-worth in your 10th house, it's like that Uranus conjunction to the Sun, it's like it's really bringing light to the healing you need to do in order to start putting your stuff out there, in order to see like this bigger picture of what's supposed to be created in the world. For you to heal that, you need to realize that your own health is important. You are important, and it starts with taking care of yourself. And what's interesting is this is going to start actually opening up your heart and shedding light on what you really want to do with your life. And it's going to uproot these old values that were placed there at the same time and start helping you kind of shovel them out So that way you can plant these new seeds that are actually meant to be part of what you want to do. And you're going to be able to incorporate all your gifts. You're going to be able to incorporate your creativity, your healing, everything you need to do into this. Because this expansion is going to be happening for you for a while. Okay, that's good. Having Virgo here, you're having a lot of sextiles right now to, I mean, not only your natal Mars, because you have sextiles between your Sun and your natal Mars, but you're having these sextiles between both your Mercury in Virgo and your Sun in Virgo to the transiting Scorpio Venus, which is very interesting. It's helping you communicate from your heart and be very articulate with it, which could also be why you're being so detailed and why you're writing. It's almost like your heart is starting to pour out naturally, and it's a very deep feeling. And the thing is, there might be a lot, like, I know you have relationships coming back. I'm sorry, like, that's happening with this sitting in your hidden house of things just deciding it wants to show the fuck back up, and it's in Venus. But that energy is trying to show you that these things showing back up aren't healthy for you. It's trying to tell you, like, you know, these two things are sitting in your health house, in the health sign, and with it being having this sextile to your relationships, it's like pick the healthy relationships so your health gets better, instead of dismantling yourself to fit other people's needs right now. Like, you're really being shoved at this kind of energy. And the thing is, I think you're being pushed this hard because once things start going into Aquarius, you're going to be feeling it a lot because it's going to be sitting conjunct your natal Uranus and your natal Jupiter for a bit. Like, all of these Aquarius transits, you're going to be having another 11th house party. It's not like you didn't have enough of one in Capricorn. You're going to have a second 11th house party in Aquarius when everything goes Aquarius, because with this energy is actually going to start pushing you towards that, because 11th house energy is Aquarius energy. So having all these starting to get pulled into here is pretty much like, hey, your wishes are going to come true if you've been building up to this, but you need to have this release right now where you actually allow this, because that's going to be a big thing for you, because having the this Pisces energy in your 12th house, but also having the Aquarius energy in your 12th house, it's like really having to surrender what you think you need to do to attain what your wishes are. It's also telling you to surrender your expectations of what friendships should look like, because that's another huge thing for you. You need to get into that place before everything goes into Aquarius, because if you're still having trouble with that, you're not going to be able to fully flourish. It's like these things that are trying to help you right now are going to have moved on. The energy is going to have shifted, and you're going to be left with what you make right now. And Owen, why are you okay? When I look at your chart, we're going to be seeing some shit. How much you want to bet that? But that's really your focus, Anna, for this eclipse. Like, it's really trying to show you that, like, hiding from it and trying to escape from it is not how you want to use this energy right now. Like, this can be some really powerful energy for you to keep pulling out things that are going to help you. But let's go ahead. Okay, Owen. I don't think I have you on here yet. Do I have you on here? Let me see. Yeah, I don't have you on here. I need Owen. I need I need your shit. I'm gonna put female on here just for that. Oh my gosh. 16. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, you're welcome, Anna. I'm sorry, I pull up Owen's chart and start laughing. I'm so mean. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry, Owen. Okay, look, I'll make it up to you. I'm reading your chart, okay? I didn't mean to laugh at you. But, okay, let's start talking. Let's start talking, guys. Let's see what's happening with Owen right now. I know the first time that I did this on a piece of paper and now we're here. But, so Owen, okay, Anna. Yes, take care of yourself. Okay, Owen. So, we'll start with you got the moon conjunct all your shit because it's literally like right in the middle at 8 degrees here, which means you're still getting your Venus conjunct it and you're also getting your Mars and your natal Mercury. So you literally have a Gemini party up in here. Like a full on 4 conjunct stellium happening with this moon over here. Now, thanks for being so nice. Anna, you're a sweetheart. We're always going to be nice to you, hon. This energy right here, and we have to remember we have, okay, I know you got it all connected in there, hon. We got that in conjunct energy going on to the, where was it? Because we have that 8, we have the in conjunct hitting at the Venus. Okay, so that, ooh, you have, huh. Okay, we're gonna look at this. You got that in conjunct going from your first house to your 6th house over here. So it's like trying to make you get your health in order here, straight up. And your health is showing on your person, Mr. Raggedy. It's no wonder I was feeling that scratched up throat when you came live last night. This energy right here that you're having, like you need, I know this is going to sound weird, but you need to look at yourself in the mirror because your stuff is coming directly through your appearance. Like these things that are coming through, like how Anna's writing like crazy right now, your stuff is literally that shit burns, Owen, okay? I know, I used to do that when I was younger. That shit burns. But this right here, this energy is literally saying that there's relationships that you need to look at and you need to analyze and see if they're actually good for your health. And you need to say shit about it because literally This is like on you right now, and you can't get away from it. And if you're looking in the mirror and you're getting smacked with something you don't want to listen to, that's your intuition coming through, like saying, "Hun, stop it." Like, it's like having this energy of like trying to smack you with a flip flop right now, because you also have more, obviously you're almost born on a new moon that's sitting in your house over here, which is showing me that, yeah, your mom had a lot of effect on your self-esteem and what you value and everything. And you have a yod coming from your Pluto and also your Neptune hitting that moon as well. So yeah, that's a lot of like really spiritual energy, which is oh my gosh, Shay, why? You never do this. Why? Hun, I really hope you didn't break something. What the hell? Okay. That was very random. Yes, Owen, physically showing. Okay, I'm over here talking about physically showing, and she jumps up and almost breaks my stuff. Oh my gosh. Okay, I think nothing got broken, I'm pretty sure. Okay. Oh my goodness. Yes, I love you, Shay. I love you too. My little purr. We're gonna calm down this crazy Owen energy. She's coming up here to calm it down, because she's a little Pisces. So we're gonna calm down some of this Owen energy with her. Okay, so I think that's why your self-worth, you need to pay really close attention, because your mom comes through very spiritually here. She's the one that's helping you in relationships. She's the one helping you gain this higher knowledge and understanding and stepping into your spirituality. It's almost like discovering yourself through her, basically. And the same goes for your sun, but it's not in like a yod point, because only your Neptune is in conjunct your sun. So it's almost like that spirituality that you're learning from your mom is trying to come through and help you heal any inner child wounds. So that natally is happening over there, but also you're having that ninth house party going on with all of those planets, conjunct your natal Neptune, which is probably why your spirituality's been getting a whole new overhaul during this time, because everything's kind of been sitting in your ninth house. And it's been going back and forth between your Jupiter and Neptune, like over and over again, and just staying conjunct everything this whole year. What with where Pisces is here, in ruling your 11th house, you have the direct Neptune sitting in your 11th house of wishes, and I believe it's in close enough degree to actually be, well, it's just out of range. So once it keeps going direct and it's going a little further, it's going to start being conjunct your natal not conjunct, it's going to be sextiling your natal Neptune, which means a lot of the friendships, pretty much a lot of the friendships you're making already are helping with your spirituality, and making certain things happen that you never thought could happen. But at the same time, once it starts conjuncting, I keep saying conjuncting, it's because your stuff is like having a party. But everyone's having parties right now, guys. I mean, even though all this is happening, it's a time to celebrate. We want reset buttons. They're a good thing. But once it starts sextiling your natal Neptune, there's going to be very noticeable changes you're going to be feeling, because of you have such a heavy energy coming from all these inconjuncts and yods that are being created with this Neptune and this mother's energy conjunct with, not conjunct, in conjunct your, also your inner child coming out too. It's helping heal the ego a lot. There's going to be a lot of compassion added to that healing you're doing. There's going to be a lot of compassionate friendships that are helping you with that healing. And interestingly enough, it's in the 11th house, and that's the house of the internet. So a lot of those more than likely will be over the internet. But it's also creating this very look into your yod. Well, I'm looking at your yod. Okay? So that's what we're filling your yod right now. You also have the North Node. Also, the North Node's in your first house too. Okay. Hun, this party happening over here with your first house and all this Gemini shit. You gotta work with this, honey. You got that dragon energy riding your face. It's like legit riding your face, hun. And that's why so much stuff's happening. And that's why, because you have to realize your Venus is conjunct this, what you call it, node, the Gemini North Node. It's conjunct that right now. So yeah, your relationships are going to be like devouring certain things. Like it's either going to be devouring your health, because certain things are in conjunct in there right now. It's going to be having this devouring effect on your self-worth, on your communication, on your drive, and it's going to be allowing people to push you around and do things that are not good for you because it's a good time, because you know that energy is all about feeling some good times, and it's going to be showing all over you, and people, that energy is like on you, they feel it, and they feel like if they take you with them they will have a good time. You need to be careful with this, because with you having an inconjunct between your natal Jupiter and your natal Venus, what's going to happen is having that conjunction with your natal Venus to the transiting North Node. It's going to make it to where that dragon energy is very expansive because it's connected to that natal Jupiter. Even though it's under some kind of restriction, like your Jupiter's doing some weird shit, I'm not gonna lie, it's feeling kind of restricted natally, but it's also in retrograde, so it's like this restrictive energy about going inward. Oh, that's how you learn. You have to learn by going inward, hun. You ain't gonna learn how to do shit from your books. You gotta do work. You gotta do very hard, restrictive work, and it's very annoying, but your blessings come from that, but they're very held back until you do that. And with all that energy hitting up here with this North Node, it's like people are feeling like, you got a lot of energy. I want to bring you with me right now because I'm going to have a good time. And you need to realize this node is going to keep going further and further. It's not going to go out of your first house. It's going to keep going deeper and deeper into your first house. And it's going to keep aspecting different things. It's going to get to a point where it's trining your natal Uranus, and that's going to feel really freaking weird for you, literally, because Uranus is like weirdness, and it's in Aquarius for you. You're going to be feeling really freaking weird in your spirituality, because it's going to be like this thing that people don't understand, but at the same time, you got to sit with it. But that's going to be happening like sometime like late next year, so don't worry about that right now. That's like late next year. But this, you got this one. Looking at another thing we got going on with you here. First, we're going to look at the Sun in Sagittarius, making that in conjunct to the Taurus Uranus right now. So this is going to be happening in your 12th house, because Uranus is in your 12th house, which once again, you have a spiritual thing being uprooted over here by Uranus. Like you're getting 12th house uproot feeling right now, and the thing is, you just have to let go and let it happen, because it's in the 12th house. You need to surrender that shit. But it's really hard for you because you're headstrong, because your 12th house is Aries, which is a really pushy energy for the 12th house. Because if you think about it, it's like this thing of like, I don't really know how to surrender. Like, this is really freaking weird for me, and I'd rather just kind of push through it and kind of find my own thing right now. And you need to learn to sit with yourself and realize that you need to, like, chill pill it. Sorry, my little one that wanted to jump up here and disrupt everything on my table now wanted to go out of the room. So, Owen, she completely left you. But you have to realize with this in conjunct happening with the sun, it's actually hitting in your seventh house, which is your shadow work. You're having this in conjunct coming straight from your 12th house. That's telling you you need to surrender to the shadow work. You need to let this healing of your inner child happen. This is pushing what your natal chart is trying to make you do with your yod. It's like to be extra cold. But with this energy here, it's trying to help you realize that you really need to step into healing this. And you're going to be, as this goes on, I wouldn't be surprised if on this eclipse you feel your mom's energy super freaking heavy. It's like, because that yod point to like your mom's energy being so deep is like any of this being activated, and as strongly as it's being activated, it's like you need to heal your inner child, like is in your chart very strongly, but it's also coming up in your shadow work. So it's all this is very much connected, and you're gonna have to completely let go to whatever happens on this eclipse, because that Uranus and Taurus over there in your 12th house isn't playing. It's coming through and it's hoeing up everything. It's like, goodbye. We're going to be sitting here making some new rows, so there's going to be new seeds being planted. It's like, we ain't playing with this old shit anymore. Old shit needs to go. Because you actually have, which probably isn't going to sound too fun for you right now, in your 11th house, you have Chiron in Aries in an opposition to your natal Chiron in Libra. So, this is the healing of the self versus you feeling you need to heal people. This hun, you have a natural gift for healing other people and healing relationships, with your Chiron being there, but having a really sucky time healing your own. So this Chiron sitting up here in your 11th house is like, hey boo, I'm here up here with the Neptune, and we're working on self-compassion and healing ourselves right now, because you can't seem to see that you need to do that, because you're too freaking focused on healing other people's shit. And this energy that's hitting is just swaying back and forth over your 5th and 6th house, because your north node's in Libra. It's just going back and forth between your health and your creativity. And since your creativity is being pulled into this and there's this opposition, it's almost like you get sudden bursts of a lot of creativity and then all of a sudden it goes away and you're very freaking irritated. And this isn't going to sound fun for you. I'm going to go ahead and let you know right now. This natal Chiron, which is probably why it's been so, not natal Chiron, this transiting Chiron has been conjunct your natal Saturn for a good bit now, which is probably why you've been going through this healing with certain friendships, with dealing with things with your dad out of nowhere, which is also kind of relates to you moving back in with your dad, because I mean, your dad, you moved in as this Chiron started hitting those, because this is at very early degrees. So you started moving in with him when Chiron was actually conjunct in your 11th house to your Saturn. You moved in with him. And now it's like you're slowly getting past the initial phase of being with him, and you're starting to come into the healing going past him that has to deal more with yourself and less with relationships, because that's what your focus needs to be right now. Because you also have this energy coming through here. Oh, you have so much energy, Owen. Fuck. This is hard for me to do all this shit in one sitting for you for the eclipse, because so much stuff is hitting you right now. But the thing is, you're blocking it coming in because you're not paying attention to yourself. Something that might actually help you is asking people how you come off to them right now. Because if you don't like that, fine, I'll drink. I needed to drink water. This energy right now that you're feeling, you might not even understand how you're looking to other people. So if you trust others, like, it might seem very weird, but trust them with sending them like either a selfie or just something random, and let them tell you like, dude, you're looking rough or something, to like kind of jolt you into understanding, hey, I need to start doing something for myself here, because I thought I was looking fucking hot. And that's what dragon energy does. It's gonna be like, I'm the fucking shit, and it's sitting in your first house over here with your Venus of like feeling freaking beautiful over here internally. So it's really acting on that right now. So you need to kind of get other people's opinions that you trust. Don't get it from people you don't trust right now, because having this eclipse happening and conjuncting every freaking thing in your first house is going to be very heavy. So you're going to need to do something where it's people you trust to tell you if like you're looking a hot mess or not, because that's going to tell you if you're actually working with the in conjunction that's happening in Scorpio, or you're fighting it. Because if you're fighting it, it's going to really be affecting your health, and it's going to be making you very erratic. It's going to be making you very paranoid, and it's also going to be making you have blockages. It's not going to be as easy for you to be tapping into this energy that's trying to come through to you with this eclipse. So you want to get that kind of nipped before. Oh my gosh, she is like going crazy. It's like she wants out, she wants in, she wants to jump on my table. What the hell? But you have to realize with this that if you aren't seeing what's in the mirror clearly enough right now, that's why you're being pulled into this, like, in conjunct with your shadow work. Because it's like, honey, if you can't see the mirror, we're going to be sending mirrors to you right now, because you need to get this. I mean, the sun's conjunct your Pluto. It's like both of that Sagittarius energy. Open your freaking mind is pretty much what it's doing. Open your mind to the transformation instead of being so focused. Like, I know you got your hair done, but being so focused on your looks right now. That dragon energy was like, hell yeah, I'm gonna get some shit done to my appearance. I look fucking spiffy. Like, that whole energy right now, they're trying to say, dude, no, we need to back off from that. You need to start looking at how other things are being affected right now. Because the thing is, you can't hide your energy with a new hairdo. But it doesn't work that way. Your energy doesn't change with changing your hair color. I mean, I can tell you that from experience, obviously, with my hair color. But your energy isn't going to change with that. It might give you a little uplift, but it isn't going to change this overall feeling of what's happening. And you need a reset. And this reset on this eclipse isn't going and changing your hair color. That's not what this reset means. This reset is literally like how you're communicating, what you're allowing in your relationships, especially in aspects to how they're affecting your health, and also how it's affecting your drive and what you really want to put your energy towards. Because the reason you keep stopping and starting things is because you're deflecting what you honestly want to go after. Because right now it's not there yet, but on the eclipse, well, it might be getting closer to it, because yours is at very early degrees, so you might be getting that moon conjunct your earlier degree stuff before the actual eclipse, so you're definitely going to be feeling the energy earlier, possibly feeling the eclipse energy like probably even a day earlier, very strongly, than it getting like very amped. Hi. Yes, you need to make up your mind. So, with all this going on, oh, and I think you should also know that your North Node is trining your natal Venus. So your Venus energy is trining the your health house. Like, there's so much stuff in here. Your relationships directly affect your health, like directly, and it's like on your person when it's happening. And the people that see it and don't say anything are completely using you, and you need to realize that. Like, that's a really harsh lesson you need to learn here, and it's like all over your chart in different places. And these transits aren't playing with this. Like, they're really trying to push you into seeing like just how bad some relationships affect your health. Because if you don't start paying attention to that, you're really going to fall with this Neptune going direct into this feeling of, I need to numb it. I need to escape it. And it's not going to be good for you. Like, you need to realize that if you don't start taking better care of yourself and coming into terms with these relationships that are directly zapping your energy and not giving a fuck about it, that it's going to keep transferring and going further, and then that energy is just going to keep expanding. I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now, the natal Jupiter you have is already in a sextile to Neptune. It's expanding that energy. So you need to pay attention to if you're doing things that are harmful to yourself, because it will create habits and they will get stuck, because your natal Jupiter is in Capricorn and the transiting Jupiter is in Capricorn. You know, that whole big party that's happening right now that's conjunct your shit. This is in your house of learning. It will impede your learning if you allow the addictions, and it's trying to show you, break them, break the unhealthy habits, especially when it comes to your relationships. You need to break the unhealthy habits because it directly affects you moving forward in your spirituality. It affects you moving forward in your life in general. It is going to affect you learning new things, because any new thing you learn is going to be evaporated by what you are doing to yourself. So I'm going to stop there because I think I've been going 30 minutes straight on this. But definitely, Owen, like, this eclipse is like, this is a major like wake up call for you, hun. Like, you need to start paying attention to what you look like when you wake up, how you feel when you wake up. Like, you need to be very like eye on your health right now, because this activation is no joke for you, and it's going to be staying this way for a good bit. So, who's next? And just for shits and giggles, if you guys want me to put mine up here too, so you can see that we're all in this together, we can do that too at the end. It's good that you started taking steps, hun, because this energy ain't playing. You blocked ass. There you go. Ruby, you want yours, hun? And then after that, I will do mine, so you guys can see all the fun we're all having together. So first, let's find out where everything's sitting. So the moon is in your 8th house, and the inconjunct is happening in your 1st house with Scorpio. So a lot of the subconscious that I was talking to you about, because you almost have the setup of the eclipses chart, because the eclipses ascendant was in Scorpio, yours is in late degrees of Libra. So yours is almost kind of close, but it's just going to have a little bit of different feeling to it. You're welcome, Owen. So, with this inconjunct happening in your 8th house and your 1st house, that's the first thing that's a little different, because in the natal Plutonic ruled eclipse chart, it's going between the 8th and the 2nd. So what's happening is a lot of hidden aspects of your personality that shows to the world are starting to slowly come out. And this transiting Venus is also conjunct your Pluto right now. So it's making it have this very, like the word that I heard was ethereal quality to your transformation. It's almost like there's a beauty in your transformation that's happening, and it's easily seen. It's like a glow up, even though it feels like hell. Like you're going through a flare up, but at the same time, you're glowing up. It's like a very weird experience. And this is definitely being expanded by your Jupiter in Cancer, which is exalted. So you're having a lot of expansion in this area, because the Jupiter is natally conjunct your Pluto, but it's also oh, whoa, cool. But it's also having this energy with it, because you have Chiron Cancer as well. And your Chiron in Cancer is actually trining the transiting Neptune that just went direct. So there's going to be this big feeling of compassion that just starts hitting you right now with like your healing. It's going to be really nice. It's going to be like this blanket that comes over you and starts helping you, and it's going to be very creative for you. It's going to be like healing through creating, because you might have felt blocked with it in retrograde, but since it's gone direct at the time of this eclipse, it's almost going to be like you get this flood of creativity you've been waiting for, and it's going to be very healing and very refreshing. And the Neptune is also trying to see exactly where your 2nd house starts. So the Neptune is going to be conjunct your natal, not conjunct, it's going to be trining your natal Pluto, as well as how it's also trining both the Mercury and the Venus. So that's transiting. So you're going to have Mercury transiting your 2nd house. So this is very deep communication about your values, doing that deep internal dialogue with yourself of what you find valuable in yourself, as well as what you want around you, because this house of value also is kind of hidden as well from you, like you trying to understand it, because it's ruled by Scorpio. So you trying to understand what you really find value in takes a lot of digging. And that's what this Neptune is trying to help you with it going direct as well, because it's been in retrograde. It's like you've been doing a lot of internal soul searching with it. But now that you have this Mercury coming through and being trining it, it's almost like you're starting to understand how to express it. And when Neptune goes direct, it's really going to help that energy. It's going to be this energy where you're able to start communicating what you actually value for the first time, and it's going to feel very strange. And this other energy where Neptune, because you have, where is it hitting you exactly? Okay, so you have, let me remember right, you have Pluto on your IC and Jupiter and Saturn in your fourth house, but everything's conjunct. Now, all of this is forming that sextile to that Neptune that's trying to bring in that nice energy to yourself. Like, because all this energy is sitting in your soul house and like just breaking down your soul right now and trying to get to the bottom of it, going through and tearing up and transforming different relationships and family, just anything dealing with that, diving back into ancestors. It's like this whole different feeling coming in. You're getting this wave of compassion coming over and this nurturing energy coming, because you're finally getting this healing trine with your Chiron, with Neptune going direct, and you're also getting this sextile going to those planets. So it's almost like you're going to get this wash of energy that you've really been needing. That hard time you've been having with that self-love is trying to really come in hard here. And since this is your Chiron and your Jupiter in your ninth house, it's really all about opening up that spirituality. Like every one of you, which I don't doubt with like my group here, like a lot of your houses that are going to be getting hit right now are very spiritual houses, because it seems like everyone I'm talking to is having a ninth house hit, a first house hit, and a 12th house hit, and a fourth. It's like everyone's getting those hits right now that I've talked to so far. Now, in the health house over here, you have both the transiting Mars and the transiting Chiron. This is some heavy energy for your health house, because your health house is ruled by Pisces. It wants to be more fluid. It wants to have this more ease energy to it. It doesn't want all this heavy, forceful energy in it. And having both of those sitting there, one forcing healing, for one, and it's actually directly opposing, like exact degree, your natal Mercury. Like that Chiron in Aries is sitting here like, you need to talk about your damn healing. It's just like coming out and trying to force you to talk about it, but it's in your 12th house and you're fighting it, because this is something you need to surrender to. Like you need directly to surrender to being able to talk about your healing and just let it go, because that's what's affecting your health, is trying to hold on to that and not express it. This is at a 5. The 5 in numerology is freedom. You get freedom from letting go of the need to control these issues. And this other energy you have here with Mars, it is also at the exact 16 degree opposing your Venus. So you have both of these in your 6th house, your relationships and your communication opposing your 6th house with this heavy Aries energy. And it's like very forceful and it's draining and it's going to pull on your health, because naturally your health house is a lot more fluid. It needs to have time for itself and to go in its own way. Aries isn't about that. It's like we need to dive, and that's going to drain the shit out of you. And it's going to make things flare up, especially when there's stress from relationships, especially when there's stress in communication, because those oppositions are just pulling. And hey, if you want to learn from me, Ruby, it's actually hard for me to talk about my health stuff, but I've been pushing myself to talk about it more because it seems like it actually helps people. And the thing is, you got to look at it that way, because a lot of times we feel like we're alone in what we're doing, But once we start actually sharing our stories, we actually find this camaraderie that we really need in order to keep healing. It's like, hey, I'm not alone in this, and other people have done these things. And it's like you can learn from them. And I think this is what your Chiron's trying to do for you here. It's like you need to realize the balance between yourself and these relationships and how to use them to help you heal instead of fighting it. Because certain relationships that you're fighting for are detrimental to your health, and they're trying to help you with that right now. Now, with Sagittarius, where are you at? The Sun. Sagittarius Sun is in your second house with that communication in Scorpio happening with the transiting Mercury. So this I'm telling you, it's playing all over your chart. You're needing to communicate your healing. This is communicating some inner child healing. But it's through expansion, it's through learning, and it's directly related to your Chiron because your Chiron's in your 11th house. You need some serious inner child healing here. And it comes from healing a lot of familial, like family relationships, but in the way that it's good for you. Not like you're just okaying toxicity back into your life. It's like okaying the ones that are good, even if you have to exclude others. Respect isn't like this boundless thing that goes across everything. If people don't respect something right now, you need to step up for yourself. Like, you can't be meek about it anymore. Like, you have to really push for these things, because these energies that you naturally have in your third house, like, you know, all this stuff, having a stellium in Capricorn sitting in your third house, it makes it naturally hard for you to communicate anyways, and your lessons are in communication. It's like literally learning to communicate. And you have all of these sitting in your 11th house. You're almost a new moon baby too. And this energy is pretty much like a constant renewal. It's like, come on, let's create over and over again in your 11th house. And this is where your drive is. It's very meticulous. It's like it's trying to help you right now. Because these energies, this moon energy you have, because it's a little further along, and your Aries energy is in direct opposition to the Neptune. And it's like trying to pull you a little bit. Neptune's like, you know, you need to be nicer to your damn self. Like, but it's like your Virgo's fighting it. And that's why there's that opposition there. But you have a lot of really positive aspects with that Neptune trying to soften the blow. Because it's really hard. It's subconsciously in you to think these things. It's like built-in replay for you to think these things over and over and tear it apart. And then your drive goes into over and over, tear it apart. And this Neptune energy is trying to come in and like, love a little more, please. Don't try to run from it. That's the wrong thing to do right now, because that opposition, if you run from it, it's going to screw you over, dude. Because it's trying so hard in your chart right now to help open up these healing waters for you so you can actually make some progress. Because Aries is pushing your health right now. It's really freaking pushing it. And where is, I know we have it, where to go, I lost it. The Uranus is sitting in your 7th house with that in conjunct to the sun. So your self-worth, once again, these relationships, your shadow work, getting torn up by Uranus over here and just like thrown all over the place. It's like coming directly into your own self-worth over here and saying you need to reevaluate what you feel is actually your heart and what is your ego protecting your shit. You need to open your eyes up and get a bigger picture on this. And that's what Sagittarius Sun's trying to come in there and pull that energy in of this Uranus and Taurus. It's like really trying to pull that in there and say, value your heart instead of protecting the ego. And it's like you can't run from this energy. And if you're feeling really run down and sick, and having flare-ups, what's going to happen is the stress is going to keep doing that to you right now, because that's literally coming from this effect of, I know I haven't been using my mouse. I have literally been pointing at the screen, but I know you guys can follow me, hopefully. But with the Neptune being over here, that fight happening between these planets over here is trying to let you know you might, oh, I think you have an inconjunct between Neptune going direct and your natal Venus as well. So this is trying to, and this Pisces energy is 12th house energy. This is connecting directly in here. It's, okay, I can see what's happening now. This loving energy is really trying to pair up with balance and harmony for you. It's trying to balance out aspects of your relationships, but the only way to do that is to realize you're not in control of it. And that's what this is trying to come in and show you. Like, you need to be more intuitive with this, because each of these water aspects you're getting are very heavy, like, intuitive energy, and it's trying to connect to everything that it's trying to help you let go of. Because what you're being shoved into with this Aries energy is very forceful healing, and it's having an effect on your health. But the only way for it to not be affecting your health as heavily is to just allow. Because this inconjunct is like saying, hey, we're going to come in, and it's going to be sitting there for a bit, because Neptune doesn't move as fast. So this inconjunct you're having with your Venus right now is trying to really help you. Like I said, it's kind of like that push-pull with an opposition, but you're having it between water and air. So it's like that tsunami, or it's that cleansing rain. It's your choice. And since it's in that house of surrender, I would much rather surrender to some cleansing rain than be getting hit by tsunamis over and over again. So you really have to pay attention to what you're doing with that. If you feel your health is going a certain way, step back and see who you've been talking to. See what relationships you were just recently engaging in. So that way you can understand directly how it's affecting your health. Because this energy is pushing you with that. It has such a high health thing for you, especially with your 11th house having all this Scorpio energy in it, and it being ruled by Leo. So you naturally have that inner child ruling the 11th house, even though you have all these energies in it that are about being service to other people. It's like your energy is naturally not to give to yourself, even though your 11th house is screaming for you to give to yourself and be creative. Especially with your sun in there. It's like, let's see where the nodes are sitting. So, the nodes are also in your 8th and 2nd, but they're barely in there. They're like kind of close to crossing over to the next houses, but that means they're not going to, because they go in reverse. So you're literally going to be dealing with the nodes in the 8th and 2nd house this whole time. Your dragon energy is going to be completely revolving around ferreting out the hidden and your self-value. And that's where this lunar eclipse is hitting for you too. It's like, this is going to be some really big energy for you. And that means all of your Virgo shit is also forming a beautiful T-square to the nodes, just like Neptune. So you're going to definitely be feeling this creatively. This is going to be pushing you to put out some of your creativity that you've really been holding back. And you really shouldn't hold it back, because you're being given the green light right now to like let it out and let it shine, especially since the nodes are sitting there. This is going to be a bit of the nodes sitting there for a while. You're going to be very meticulous about doing it, But it's also trying to show you with this Pisces energy that sometimes you just got to let go a little bit. You can't be so hard on yourself with what you're creating. You have to just let it out sometimes, and you can always go back and revamp things. People do it all the time. So you have to let go of that need for perfection before you put things out. Otherwise, everything you try to create is going to take years upon years upon years. Because naturally you're gifted in creating these things, but it's your mind and it's your inability to let go of perfection that holds you back from letting go of some of these things. And this energy is going to be sitting on you for a while. So you need to learn it. But yeah, definitely trying to see if anything else is really hitting you with this eclipse. I do gotta say though, right now, like I told you, like even though you're going through a bunch of transformations, it's like a glow up. That Venus is having a sextile to all your natal planets in Capricorn. So maybe it's like Uranus is a little bit out of the orb, but it's definitely with Saturn and Neptune right now. So that Venus energy, people are going to see, even though it is hard for you with your communication feeling kind of restricted, people are going to be having this thing that when you communicate, even though it's hard, it's going to be very beautiful. And this is also, I know like singing's brought up for you a lot, but I think this has a lot to do with letting go of this feeling that you need to have this restriction on your singing, because this transformation is also trying to help you with how you put that out there, especially since you have so much fight going on between your Jupiter and these planets you struggle with communication in. It's almost like this battle back and forth of feeling insecure and trying to hide away, or having the ambition and pushing forward but still feeling really restricted with how you do it. And it's all coming from this need for perfection. This is like this energy, this is what I mean by reset. It's like you need a reset on how you actually allow yourself to be creative. It needs to be more of an allowing as opposed to a pick apart, because with your creativity, it's like you let it out some and then you pick it apart and then it never fully makes it out. This is an energy that's showing you that, you know, this needs to be dropped right now. This very mercurial energy that you have that's coming through with wanting you to express yourself, because you have it hitting a lot of different points of your chart that this communication is very important for you. You need to allow it, because what's going to start coming out is more natural. It's going to be more, instead of feeling forced like you need to perfect it, it's just going to be natural. And it's also going to be having this relation to your guides sending you these messages as well. Like some of your songs are actually going to be just downloads that you get, and you can't nitpick those. If they don't make sense at all, more than likely they were given to you because they're going to make sense to other people. So it's really important for you. Even though relationships are important, what's going to help you with your relationships is you finally getting over this communication and perfection. Because the right relationships that you won't have to like pick apart to know if it's okay will come in once you start allowing this energy to let go a little bit. And this is going to help you a lot. So just think of this eclipse as a way to like hit the reset on how you communicate. because that's going to springboard a lot for you. Because once you start communicating, because you communicate through writing, you communicate through speaking, you communicate through singing, you have all of these ways you communicate that have been restricted for such a long time that this is trying to lift. It's trying to lift that heaviness a little bit so that way you can actually use it and create with it for once instead of feeling like you don't have anything helping you. And once you kind of lift this and start healing it, then it's just gonna be a free-flowing, easy thing for you, which is what it's meant to be, but you have a lot of blockages that are keeping it from you. So that is what this eclipse is trying to do for you right now. But just remember, it's literally sitting in your your second and eighth house right now. And so are the nodes, and they're going to stay in there. But if you guys want, I can pull up mine. I'll pull up the easy one so you guys don't have to see all the crazy lines all over it. Because let's all be in this together, right? Okay, so we're gonna have a looky-loo at mine. So as you guys know, I have a hidden yod. It's a little sneaky booger. Because my south node's in Leo, and that's actually making a yod right to my Uranus. Now, just remember that's sitting there, right? Yes, I'll drink my water. But let's remember that that's already sitting in there. This Uranus is currently already a yod point. Now, let's look at where the eclipse is actually taking place. The moon is going to be conjunct my sun by less than 2 degrees, and it's going to be at 8, which is directly in conjunct my Uranus, which means it is also forming a yod with my south node to my Uranus. Yay, guys, we have 2 yods coming through with this eclipse. And then we also have the sun sitting down here in my house, you know, my creativity house, which, as we remember, the sun is having this beautiful inconjunct happening at Uranus that's been literally sitting smack dab in the middle of both my Venus and my Mercury for a very long time. So obviously you can tell my 10th and 11th house have been getting torn up by this Uranus energy and saying this is what we're going to be doing over here. So having this inconjunct coming to the sun in my creativity house, I can already tell you that my mind is expanding currently. I'm not lying, my mind is expanding. The creativity is expanding, stuff's happening, and I'm just doing a bunch of random things right now, and I'm going with it. And what's funny is my 6th house is actually ruled by Sagittarius, where my yod is sitting. My yods at this time with the eclipse are sitting, where it's like, I like having a free-flowing routine now that I realize that's what's good for my health. Now, this eclipse, now that I'm thinking about it, since yods are things you are supposed to do with your life, is like having this beautiful effect of activating 2 yods that I'm supposed to be doing on the eclipse itself. I'm supposed to do something on the eclipse, whether I like it or not. That live yesterday is complete proof. Yes, that live was complete proof. And the eclipse is actually happening when I'm doing the weekly reads, because that's my Monday next week. So yeah, let's see what happens with that. But I mean, hell, I got a whole December download yesterday. I am not putting anything past this week at all happening. I'm just letting it flow. But this is kind of the thing I've been getting taught, is that I need to flow, and it's very hard for me because if you guys notice, I have a lot of crap in Capricorn over here that is aspected by literally everything under the sun. Same with Taurus. I have a very stubborn nature about crap that I'm doing. So, having all this Scorpio energy down here that I have, because I actually have Lilith right on the other side of my IC, so literally both Pluto, not my IC, my 5th house. So I literally have Lilith in my 4th house, and I have Pluto in my 5th house. They're both conjunct because Lilith is 14 degrees, so they're like both humping my 5th house line over here. So, in my 4th house, I have Venus conjunct Lilith, and it's also conjunct Pluto in my 5th house because of degrees. So both of those are like, hey, let's make it pretty in the soul world, like kind of thing down here. And it's also wanting me to really deal with family relationships, which freaking sucks right now, I'm not gonna lie, and I know I gotta push myself to do that because of the inconjunct that is going in between the Gemini moon, which is also part of that yod thing. Damn it. I'm realizing stuff on my chart. Oh, shit. Oh, I'm gonna be having to deal with the family shit that I've been putting off. Great. I've been feeling that for a while, though, that I'm gonna have to deal with that sometime this week. Even other things I've been seeing have been pushing me towards it. But creative-wise, I'm gonna be wanting to move towards creating things that have really deep meaning but are beautiful, that come from my soul. Yay. But, because of having the Venus conjunct my Pluto in my 5th house, my creativity is usually very deep, it's very dark. A lot of my writing is very dark because it pulls from different things like that, because my Pluto is trining both my Chiron and my Jupiter. It's actually making 2 mystic rectangles to both of them. And then my Lilith is making 2 mystic rectangles to both of them as well. So it's like I have technically 4 mystic rectangles. But even though you can't see those here, that's why I'm saying this is the easier chart. I'm not putting any aspects to Chiron in here, and I'm not putting aspects to my South Node because that makes everything go psycho. So literally just having those 2 off, literally, like the aspects, shows you what's happening here. Oh, thanks, hon. But having the Mercury in my 5th house of creativity, having this need to express this stuff. Now, yes, I've been writing for a bit, like a writing junkie for a bit since Mercury's been in Scorpio. And I've been creating from this place, but I've been expressing it. Now, out of nowhere, with this eclipse coming into play here, it's like, wait a second, there's a lot more stuff I need to be saying right now. And if you guys notice, my 9th house is ruled by Pisces. That Neptune has been sitting in my 9th house all freaking year. It has not gone anywhere. It's just been in my 9th house. Now at least it's finally direct. And it's doing all of this trining energy to all my stuff in Scorpio. It's just trining the crap out of my stuff in Scorpio right now, and it's finally direct. So instead of getting all this internal stuff that I have been feeling, it's going to start becoming more external. I'm going to start putting it out to people, which makes complete sense. That I'm over here like spouting off December's entire freaking chart without even looking at one. Yes, my sense of humor is that way too because of my Virgo moon. But the thing is, having this energy going on, and let's just talk about the north and south nodes a little bit right now. They have barely squeaked, like barely have squeaked into my 11th and my 5th house, and they are going to stay there forever now until they are not nodes in there anymore. They have squeaked in, they're finally in there, and they're like, it is time to create from some soul here, which is literally what this Scorpio thing's having over here with my 4th and 5th house. It's like we're gonna do some creative, beautiful stuff, some dark beauty. Like, I feel like it's literally like dark feminine energy if it's dark beauty. But it's like this energy that is trying to come out, and it needs to be expressed on the internet because it's in the 11th house. Yay! It's like, let's just do all this shit in my 11th house, guys. But this thing right here coming through, because I'm telling you guys, I have all these mystic rectangles, right? Now, these mystic rectangles also hit the point of my yod. Okay? So, not only do I have 2 yods at this eclipse, I have a Uranus that's trining my yod. I have mystic rectangles that are having the time of their life being best friends with my yod. I'm telling you, I'm just having whatever the fuck is gonna happen to me Monday. I don't even want to know right now. I have too many yod things happening to my yod, and I have oppositions to my yod, guys, from both my Chiron and my Jupiter. My natal chart by itself is its own beast. Okay, it does its own thing, but with these transits, guys, it is like, when I say my chart's having a party with the transits all year, it literally has. I mean, I had 2 Saturn returns, okay? I mean, look at where my Saturn's sitting, in the house of shadow work, and I had 2 Saturn returns going over my house of shadow work. The planets have not left my house. At one point, yes, at one point, Jupiter and Pluto were in my 6th house, and they were having a little bit of fun time with my Neptune. They were. Not gonna lie there. My Neptune is also conjunct my yod, just saying. But we're gonna go into, they're all finally up here, and they're all sitting pretty with my Saturn. Like, hey, we're all best friends, and we're all sitting on her descendant. We're like, shadow work, yay! Like, all this kind of stuff happening over here. And it's, all my relationships have been getting ripped asunder. I don't even know how else to put this. Everything has been getting flash flooded to me, especially since all this crap in Scorpio is like, hey, we're having a freaking party over here. And you know, that Mercury Scorpio is sextiling all that shit in my house's shadow work. All of it, even my natal. It's just over there like, you know, we're best buds now. And you need to talk about all this shit. You need to talk about all the shit. You need to talk about your relationships. You need to talk about all this hard shit you're going through. And then as you're talking about it, make sure you're putting it on the internet, because that's where it needs to be. People need to hear it. You can't keep it for yourself anymore. Oh no, hun. You're not allowed to keep this to yourself anymore. This shit needs to be going on the internet. So you ain't got no choice. You gotta write it. I keep being told I need to write a fucking book. I am tired of trying to write right now. Your natal Mercury is... See, I'm telling you, your mom's shit is gonna be coming through very heavy for you on this eclipse. You're gonna be learning a lot just from being able to tap into that. With me, I know my relationship with my mom is probably, I keep being told it's gonna be like snapped off. It's gonna be snapped off, and I'm just sitting here like, that's the thing I've been putting off, because my moon is very tightly sextiling this Mercury in Scorpio. This deep ass conversation that I need to have with my mom that will be very beneficial for me because it's a sextile. that doesn't necessarily mean I'm gonna like it, okay, guys? Like, just because something is beneficial for you does not mean that you like it. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you that right now. Like, I've been feeling this coming up on me, and it's sneaking up, and I'm just over here like, I don't want to deal with this shit. And the thing is, it's also bleeding over into my relationship with my brother because it's in the house of siblings. This is a very messed up conversation that I'm gonna have to have, guys. And it's not okay. And I know it's not okay. And it's very emotional for me. And I've been having to create a lot trying to get these emotions out so I can actually talk about it. Because I can't talk about this normally. And now it's just flowing out of me. Thank you, Eclipse. It's just flowing out of me right now. If you need inspiration, Ruby, it's coming. I I don't have a good thing. And my past was shit, okay? It really was. And now I'm being pushed to talk about all this shit on a public platform because it is supposed to happen. I am supposed to put this shit on a public platform. I'm supposed to talk about my inner wounded child with my son sitting over there in my 11th house on a public platform. I am supposed to find my worth in healing my inner wounded child because there is no value there. And I'm supposed to somehow find this hidden freaking energy in Aquarius that's supposed to help other people through healing my shit. Because this North Node energy I have is sitting in Aquarius. And it hurts. It hurts a lot. It fucked up my health. It's literally killed me so many times. It's like my reset button's gonna be in order to protect my health. And to not actually die from having these relationships in my life. I have to cut out the relationship that I thought gave me value. The ones that I thought I could trust. The ones that I did trust with my life. And it physically was killing me. Mars is in my house of career. And it's squaring all of these relationships in this shadow work that I've been dealing with. because I've been having to put them out as my legacy. The legacy of being a traumatized person trying to help other traumatized people. And Chiron's in my 9th house, conjunct my natal Aries. And my natal Mars is also squaring my yod point. This is the destiny I've been working towards. The only way I can actually unlock my potential with this Chiron and Aries conjunct my natal Mars in my 9th house is by seeing through the eyes of Pisces. That by letting them go, I'm learning to love myself. And this Neptune is creating a grand water trine. It's actually creating 3 grand water trines between my Jupiter, Chiron, Lilith, and Pluto. And since it's direct, it's going to stay there for a bit. These 3 grand water trines that are trying to heal me right now. In my house of surrender, my soul, my creativity, and all the deep pain that comes from actually learning the truth. Why the hell did I pick this music? It is not helping me right now. This is why I didn't look at my chart. Out of all of you guys, I don't have stuff happening in my 1st house. I have my South Node that's screaming at me with that yod that it's making silently and hidden. little stealth job it's doing over there. But the South Node holds our talents that we don't understand, that we're trying to bring out right now. And it is literally screaming with this eclipse, with 2 freaking yods using it at exact degrees, because the eclipse is at 8. My sun is at 10. My Uranus is at 8. And my South Node's at 9. This is an even closer yod than my natal yod. That is telling me to just do it right now. Your whole life, you knew you were going to have to do this. But now is the actual time to do this. Oh my gosh, that's an Italian accent. Oh my gosh, I needed that. Thank you, Owen. Yeah, all of my stuff is linking. And it is actually making complete sense why I am a freaking download machine right now if I am having 3 grand water trines. Freaking having a party in my charts right now in the house of higher learning and spirituality with that Pisces over there, like all gung-ho and going direct. And it's going to be doing that for a couple years. Making these trines. This is why this year I got put here. I have my natal grand earth trine grounding me and trying to hold me down in the midst of 3 grand water trines and 4 mystic rectangles. Actually 5 or 6, 5 or 6 mystic rectangles, because that Venus transiting is creating more mystic rectangles. I was wrong, guys. There's even more mystic rectangles. I am grand trine in mystic rectangle city this year. Okay, that's just what's happening. And now I have turned into Yod City with having the exact same Yod by some, I want to say pure miracle, but obviously it's not a pure miracle if this is happening right now at like the first major eclipse of the end of the year. Thanks, Owen, I'm gonna swim. The thing is, I didn't even know I was swimming. It's been in, Pisces has been in retrograde. And my natal Pluto's in retrograde, so it has been murky. This grand trine I've had has been murky for a bit because they're both in retrograde, and they were making me shove with this so much healing and expanded healing because my Jupiter's conjunct my Chiron at a close degree. It was really bringing this really deep internal healing to my feminine energy and my soul, which is what I've been working on so hard, and I've been so focused on that energy, and now I understand why. Like, I literally had the things there that's like, this is what needs healing, and I've been trying to help other people heal it while I'm healing it. It like makes complete sense, but I wasn't able to see it because I was so internal with this retrograde energy that with it going direct, like this is the sieve beginning to open and just like allow itself to pour out, because that Neptune is sextiling my Taurus Mercury in my 11th house. There's the final piece right there. All of those trines with all of this energy that's been in retrograde that I've been doing internally and slowly bringing out, it's just going to shoot forward into my 11th house. And this is the beginning of the sieve break. That's what happened yesterday. It was the beginning of the sieve break, and now the sieve has broken and it's going into it, and it's going to hit on the eclipse. Everything's been saying something huge has to be removed from my life for things to go forward, and I knew what it was. I knew what it was, but there is no way by looking at this chart, like if I was seeing this as someone else's chart, I would be telling them the same thing that I'm saying to myself right now. Though probably not nearly as emotional, because I'm actually attached to the things that have happened to me. And that's what I'm going to have to learn to surrender. And my freaking 12th house is in Gemini. Freaking eclipse energy is forcing me to surrender. A forced surrender, guys. It's like, you guys, it's like I'm telling you, like, surrender, you know? But with me, it's like, no, bitch, you're surrendering. You have no choice. It's like they're yeeting surrender at me. They're just like freaking yeeting control out of my life right now. And it's like, here you go. You have no way out of this. No, my son's in my 11th. Which is why it's interesting. My energies are split. Because my Gemini actually rules my 12th. Your sun is in your 2nd house. Oh, where does yours sit? Yeah, your sun sits in my 12th house. Both your sun and your moon sit in my 12th house. And possibly your Venus. I think. No, not your Venus. But, like all your other Gemini stellium stuff is conjunct my sun, because my sun's right in the middle of all your shit. She can say what she likes or doesn't like. To be honest with you, I like you. And the thing is, with your sun sitting in my 12th, what that's showing me, especially with your moon being there, is like I'm able to understand you. Because that hidden energy that would be hidden from me, like say if my own sun was in that house, I understand it because I've had to put that energy in front of people. I'm being pushed to shove that energy out onto people. And I have no choice with it. So that's why when I see you and you're going through the different things you're going through, it makes me look at things and realize that I can see myself in you sometimes. And it brings out a lot of my hidden aspects as well. So I think it's honestly how you connect to a person and what they have in your 12th. Because they can actually help you realize some hidden potential you have. I mean, I did my first reading with you, like on what are your spiritual gifts. I did that with you. And it showed me that I could do that. So you've been helping me and pushing me realize I have other strengths that I didn't know I had too. And it was literally to help you, guide you on your intuition and help you, like, understand yourself more. And through doing that, I understood myself more. And I heal through helping other people. It's like all over my freaking chart that I, like, my freaking 8th house ruler is Aquarius, and my yod point is freaking Uranus at 8 degrees. I mean, like, I don't know how much more they want to, yeah, see, Owen, there's Ruby right there. My words are failing me a little bit right now because I got emotional, which I'm pretty sure having 3 grand water trines, I am surprised that I'm not a blubbering mess everywhere I go, but it's probably thanks to dealing with these energies with so many mystic rectangles and this grand earth trine. It's probably the only thing keeping me from being like a freaking tidal wave mess. But just looking at this is really helping me realize a lot of stuff. And I know Ruby's stellium is sitting in my communication house. And I think that's probably why I push her so hard to get her stuff on the internet, is because I understand it. My Mercury's in the 11th. I'm like, bring your shit out. I understand what it feels like to have a hard time communicating your emotions, because my Virgo moon is in my 3rd house. It's like, I'm pretty sure if I looked at all your charts that I try to help with, the thing I probably push with you guys the most is probably where your stuff is sitting in my chart. Exactly. Yeah, your Saturn's in the 11th. And it's like, the way I feel with that, with your Saturn being in Aries, it's almost like I feel like you're gonna learn very impulsive lessons, and a lot of them are gonna be through what you're learning from taking care of yourself, and it's gonna feel selfish what you're doing, and there might be some backlash from friends or from what people deem appropriate on the internet. Who fucking cares? It's like, at this point, I know it's where my stuff is. I mean, my natal Mars, like, your Saturn is sitting in my 9th house, Owen. Like, all of these things, like, my Mars is conjunct your Saturn, which kind of makes really funny sense because I've been pushing the fuck out of you to do the shit that you need to do this year. I've been, like, putting you through my Mars boot camp, and your Saturn's at the exact degree of Chiron in my 9th house as well. It's like I've been pushing you into some karmic healing and shit. But it's really interesting to see how I'm connected to each of you. And Ruby, I'm just gonna go ahead and let you know my yod is conjunct your shit in your 3rd house in Capricorn. The point of my yod is conjunct your natal shit in your chart. All of it. It's conjunct all of it. It's no wonder. It's like my yod is like conjunct your shit, and I'm all about like you need to get shit done. Like this yod's about getting shit done, and I'm like, well, you know what, Ruby, this is what you need to do. But yeah, this is really interesting, and I know I went into this emotional thing, which I think I needed that release, honestly, because I've been holding that in so hard and trying not to think about it, but it's the time to think about it. And it just so happened to be when I'm live. I mean, I don't know if it's just meant to be that I don't have a life of privacy when it comes to my emotions or my musings or what I think about or just my guides wanting to say shit. I don't know if I'm just meant not to have a life of privacy with that, and that's why my yacht is in my house of routine of it being not normal and being out for humanity. It's like, what am I supposed to be doing? Outing humanity's hidden shit? Like, I mean, in a way, I am kind of doing that because of how I feel about certain things. But it's like, that is very ironic that my North Node is in Aquarius at 9 degrees, at the spiritual 9 number, and my Yod is at 8 degrees, and I'm an 8 life path. And it's like, what the hell? It's like, bring my life path and this spiritual shit into my 8th house because humanity's shit's fucked and I need to tell the truth on it, is pretty much what's happening. And it needs to be blasted for everybody to see because the 11th house is usually ruled by Aquarius, and so it all connects literally around my chart. Let's bring it around, guys. Let's bring it around town. Like, I'm gonna out all your shit. Uranus don't care. It don't care at all. Fuck your couch. Oh my god. You know Uranus's number is 4. And I've been seeing 44 everywhere. 144, 244, 444. Like now, it's 444, 1144, 1244. There's just, fuck your biscuit. I'm telling you, like, this yod is following me everywhere, okay? It is just following me. Hey, Anne, we all looked at charts, and then I just started discussing mine and had a breakdown. So, because I realized how much shit this eclipse is bringing me and how long it's going to be sitting with me. You peeper. But, yeah, this stuff is following me everywhere. And I'm having an extreme one on the eclipse. It's no wonder everything's screaming reset. Heads. My goodness, Owen, I can't. But, yeah, that was, interesting to find that out live, and I wasn't even paying attention to it for, like, the whole year. But, my kitty is jumping on me again. Owen, I can't wait. Oh my goodness. You see, this is why you're in my 12th house, Owen. You just bringing it out over here for me. Actually, I think, now that I'm looking at this, um, your, wait a second. Hmm. Really? Oh my god. Oh, you can call me Steph or whatever. I don't mind either way. It's just the name I have on everything. Because obviously, I'm pretty sure Steph is taken. Just saying, by now, by this day and age, I'm pretty sure Steph is taken. But I mean, that would have been awesome if I could have had the name Steph on shit. That would have been great. But yeah, this is very interesting. So yeah, if you guys ever feel like you need someone to understand you, I am here with all 50 of my mystic rectangles and grand water trines and grand earth trine, possibly multiple grand earth trines at this point. I probably have two grand earth trines, but wait, where's Uranus? What degree is Uranus right now? It's 8. Okay, no. I'm safe. I'm safe from having another grand. I have to say I'm safe from having another. I don't have another grand earth trine. But, clean your spirit. Oh my gosh, Owen. I have missed you, hon. And I'm not gonna lie, one of the reasons I wanted to put my Astro Lives on Wednesday is so you can make it, because I always felt so bad that you couldn't make it. And I'm really glad that I did, because if you wouldn't have been here today, I don't know. I probably would have shut off the stream with my crying and shit. But you know, if this helps people, then I mean, obviously it's what I'm being pushed to do. I mean, my Venus is in my 10th house in Taurus. It's like trying to say, guys, let's make all of this ugly shit pretty. And it's opposing the Scorpio Venus right now that's like, it needs to be dark and pretty. Okay? Like they're in an argument right now. But once that Venus scoots a little bit, past the eclipse and it's out of that 10th degree, I won't be having that argument. I can just go straight back to things being pretty instead of being, it has to be dark and pretty. But I probably will still be creating in that manner because Venus is going to be in Scorpio for a little bit. Big hole is a push over here. But yeah. But yeah. If you guys ever feel like shit is heavy, believe me, I will understand that shit is heavy. If you ever need this as a reminder, shit is heavy. I wonder who else is getting a freaking yacht off of this eclipse. Like a double yacht, like a yacht on top of their yacht. I want to know who is getting a yacht on top of their natal yacht for this eclipse. I honestly want to put that out there and just ask, is anyone getting a yacht on top of their yacht for this eclipse? I know, my little kitty's going crazy too. No, you didn't have one, Owen. You had, because your yod is coming from Capricorn to your, like your yod's actually using Capricorn to make a yod to your Gemini stuff. Mine is using my Gemini Sun and my Leo South Node to make a yod to my Capricorn Uranus. So it's like making it in a different direction. Yod trick, yeah. So yours is still like your yod, like itself. It's not changing. The reason mine's happening is literally it's like I have a new moon energy. That's actually a closer conjunction than your new moon energy, Owen, on my sun making a second yod on my yod. So it's like you need to create this yod to happen right now, is pretty much the energy I'm going to be stuck with for a bit. Even once the moon isn't in Gemini anymore. This is like a major shift thing I'm going to be going through. But I mean, this is why I think that the emote fill the yod is going to be such a great emote. She sounds hideous. Fish couldn't. Oh my goodness. I think I already have yours, Anne, on my thing. We can take a quick look at yours before I go and get something to eat. I was too nauseous this morning to eat. I woke up still feeling very weird. So I just had some toast. So let's see. So this eclipse is taking place in your 10th and 4th house. Slam stand. Oh, and I was feeling too sick this morning. I'm serious. Like, I went to bed, like, on the verge of throwing up quite a few times and woke up feeling that way. So I just had a little bit of toast and honey this morning to kind of calm my stomach. But I think since that release I had, I actually am feeling a little hungry, so maybe I'll be able to eat now. I needed like a great release to happen for me to be able to eat. But both the North Node, South Node, and the Gemini Eclipse is happening in your 4th and your 10th house. So all this energy is really centered on you needing to find what is happening with your career and also learning how to pull that energy out soul-wise, because since you have the South Node and the Sun in your 4th house over here in Sagittarius transiting, it's really telling you you need to find that part of your soul that you hid away that you need to pull out so that way you can actually tap into your talents, because it's really trying to help pull that out right now. That South Node is going to stay in your 4th house for a while, and the Sun's only going to be in there for the duration of Sagittarius season. Now the North Node is going to stay in your 10th house. It's going to stay telling you that you need to be doing this communication, these different things you need to be doing in order to get through the transit. Like, it's really pushing you towards that. Like, this energy is really trying to push you to put your legacy out there. But you need to understand what that is, so you're not just running out and throwing anything out there. Like, you really need to concentrate this energy while you have it, this Sagittarius energy, and broaden this experience with it, because your moon sitting up here in your ninth house and having the transiting Uranus up there, I think it's still conjunct because it's in 16, I believe, and yours is at 8, so it might still be conjunct your moon. But it's retrograde, so it might get closer to your moon before it goes direct. But with this energy, it's really causing this big upheaval in what you believe spiritually, what knowledge you've collected. You really trying to learn to trust your intuition and really getting rid of the old ideas of what you thought your intuition actually was and how you should be expressing your emotions. Especially since the moon is exalted in Taurus, it's almost like it's trying to bring that out in you. And having these trines hitting your Capricorn planets means that it's also trining, well, it's not trining them anymore. They moved out of the trine. They're still in your 5th house, which means your creativity is feeling kind of restrictive with all of them conjunct moving through your 5th house, especially since you have a natal Neptune and Uranus in there too, that are, yeah, they're both conjunct, each of them, I believe. So having all that energy in your 5th house, your creativity is very restricted right now, and it's going to stay restricted until those planets move up into your 6th. With it being in Aquarius, it's going to lift some of that and allow some of that creativity to come out, because by then Uranus is going to have done what it's going to do in Taurus. It's still going to be in your 9th house, but it's not going to be forming all these trines and really helping the stuff stay restricted. It's going to be like this big release. And currently, let's see what else. There was the inconjunct between the sun. Okay, so you literally have this is interesting. You actually have an exact inconjunct between the sun and your natal moon. That's going to happen on the eclipse at 8 degrees. So that means, like I said, that soul root thing is going to be really getting torn up by that, the eclipse that's happening. But the thing is, you're going to keep feeling that energy for a bit, until at least maybe halfway, or maybe throughout the rest of Sagittarius season. You're going to be feeling this very heavy, because it's going to be actually for a few days afterwards, because the sun moves rather quickly. But that inconjunct is really going to be pulling out a lot of the emotion. It's going to be pulling out these different connections you have to what you deemed were actually soul purpose type things, and make you have to reevaluate everything, especially through what you're learning. Because the more you learn and more in tune you get, that is when you're going to be able And you gave me this time before, and you said this was the time you'd rather use. Why, is there another one? I've been sitting here reading one that's not. Okay then, let's go in and see just how much this changes. Because we just need to put 12. Oh, there went all those nice things helping you. Okay, we're gonna go over into, this is what you got. Okay. So all the planets have been conjunct your stuff in your 7th house. You have a Cancer ascendant. You have an inconjunct between your native Mercury and your Jupiter, which is interesting because your native Jupiter is actually in the 3rd house, which is usually ruled by Mercury. So you have an inconjunct between those energies, but you're brash way of expressing yourself, especially since you're still trying to understand the nature of it, because you have an intersection between Libra and Aries. And this also means that all these transiting Aries placements that have been going on have been kind of rough, especially with Chiron literally sitting on your Mercury over here. It's just been conjunct your Mercury for a bit. And it's like you need to heal your way of expressing, or you need to actually heal in order to be able to correctly express the way you want to, as opposed to being so abrupt in the way you come off, because sometimes your energy might jar people and you don't understand why, and it's because you're lacking that energy of balance and understanding it. With this moon over here in your 11th and having Uranus working up your 11th house, it's trining your natal. That Uranus is trining your natal Neptune and your natal Uranus in your house right here, because the natal Uranus is like right here. So it's going to be like trining this energy right here. So it's really trying to help you, even though a lot of times, even though aspects look positive, it doesn't necessarily feel good. It is trining and trying to help you rip up these old ideas that once might have been useful for working through certain relationships. You need to use new tactics and new ways of looking at things, since that Uranus is having this trine to your Uranus is trying to bring a new revolutionized look to how you are processing both your shadow work and your relationships. Because what's happening right now, the way that you've been doing it isn't going to serve you in the future. And that's what this eclipse is trying to show you, is you've been going through this for most of the year too, with where Uranus has been. But you're going to feel it really heavy, especially since Gemini is going to be at 8 degrees. This 5th house energy you have here, because you're going to have Pluto conjunct the Mercury in Scorpio, and that inconjunct coming from the Gemini moon in your 12th house is going to be actually hitting the Venus that's also in your 5th house. So you have all this Scorpio energy, which the eclipse itself has very Plutonic heavy energy, since its ascendant is Scorpio, and it has a lot of Scorpio placements in its 1st house. So you're having an extra dose of Plutonic energy hitting, because you're actually getting hit by the eclipse coming from your 12th house, trying to bring light through your subconscious into your 5th house to help you with your creativity and your expression with everything in Scorpio right now. And it's really important you do this right now with everything conjunct your Pluto, because that's what's going to help you transform through all of these hard aspects that you have, because it's actually amping up these natural aspects you have in your chart, especially having this sextile over here to how you're dealing with your inner workings, with your shadow work and your relationships. It's like things right now are trying to help you with that, because with the sun in Sagittarius in your 6th house, this is where the health is coming in. This Sagittarius energy is actually forming the inconjunct to the Uranus right now. Which I'm going to go ahead and tell you, with it doing that in your 11th and your 6th, you can easily go into this feeling where the internet is actually directly affecting your health because of how much time you spend on it. And that's something you need to be careful with, especially with your moon there, since you're having this moon energy already coming in with the eclipse in your 12th house. You can have unexpected things happen to you, not even knowing it, since it's also pulling in that other moon energy. Everything is so tied together with this eclipse for your health over here in your 6th house, because you even have your north node in your 6th house too. So even though it's in Capricorn, it's like in trying to make you learn the energy of work and having this ambition right now, and you have this inconjunct in your chart that's like naturally telling you to try to push yourself at it, even though it's really restrictive and hard for you to communicate these things. It's like you need to be careful with diving too much into that energy because it can make you sick. You really need to go back into taking care of yourself, because the more you take care of yourself, the more you're actually going to see it on your person, because your north and south node are actually a few seconds off of being exactly conjunct each other. A what? Okay, I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now, and that kind of rubbed me the wrong way because I'm sitting here trying to read this for you in the state that I've been in lately, and then you're going to go and do that. It makes me feel like you're not even listening to what I'm telling you right now. And that looks very copy-paste. I can understand if you asked me to put that stuff up here, but that's actually kind of rude to just jump on and do that when I'm doing something for you. And also, in a way, it's using what I do on my channel to promote yourself through the hard work I'm putting into doing this for people. And you watched my live yesterday. I mean the entire thing, Anne. And I'm going to be completely honest with you, you picked the exact wrong time to do that after what I just went through earlier. And I'm also going to end your reading here. But anyways, I think this is a way of me knowing that I need to stop and go eat something and just take care of myself, because I got more than enough stuff I have to do this week. Since I got an awesome download from talking earlier. So for any of you that watch this later, and that is not even the issue here, it has nothing to do with if whatever kind of chart. It could have been draconic, it could have been sidereal, tropical, whatever. I honestly don't care what kind of chart it is. It's the fact that you didn't ask me if it was okay to put all that information up there while I was in the middle of doing a free reading for you that usually people pay at least $80 for. And then you post that, and then you're trying to skirt around. Don't think I don't know you're not skirting around and trying to say like, oh, is it this? No, it is your intention that you did this, and you intentionally didn't ask me. I'm not a pushover, Anne. I am very kind, and I'm very considerate, and I have a lot of empathy for people. But I do not like when people try to use other people and then try to skirt around and act like they are not. I can read any chart that someone puts in front of me, but I can also read when someone is intentionally doing something hoping they don't get caught. I love you too, Ruby. And I know I usually don't talk this way because I don't like getting this way. Don't step on this side of me. I'm not going to say it's not part of my nature, because every aspect of me is a part of me. But when someone does something that brings out this side of me when I have so much patience for so many things, it's not okay. And I know you know what is correct conduct on any platform, especially if you want your own. But I'm going to go ahead and get off of here, because I don't want my other viewers that watch this later to get a bad feeling in the pit of their stomach. But just so you guys know, yes, these readings that I have been doing are eclipse readings. These are the special I have going right now for 55. Usually all of my readings are about 80. And there's a reason for this. You can see how much information I go through in a half-hour time period. I am not this person that pussyfoots around things and just wastes time by just dragging something up and then talking about my life. It's like, I'm going to tell you about stuff, and in 30 minutes you're going to get a whole lot of shit. I don't make those prices just because they're like, random things. I put a lot of work into what I do, and that's why they're the price they are. And right now I am doing the special on it for 55 because I feel people need this information. But for you guys, I'm doing it for free because you're on here supporting me. And that's more than overstepping. That is disrespect. And being from understanding astrology, I would expect more of you. I honestly would. But like I said, I'm stopping this now because the people that watch this, I don't want them having this energy on them. Everyone else, if you haven't gone to the November contest, go and put your Twitch name on my Instagram. That's all you gotta do. But other than that, I'm gonna stop this here. I'm taking very limited appointments on Thursday because it's Thanksgiving, and then I'm taking appointments on Sunday, and then I'm gonna be back on Monday for the weekly read, which is probably going to be very powerful because it is the start of the eclipse, and the eclipse energy is going to last. It's not just going to be for one day. This energy is going to last. So we'll see what comes out on Monday. But I hope all of you have a great night. Take care of yourselves, and just remember to be gentle with yourselves and know what your boundaries are, and don't let people overstep them. Love you all.